our air pollution working group has been in existence for about 9 months, or perhaps a little bit more. No, actually, since about June last year. And we have been working with 2 organizations, but one is Citizens UK, and the other one, the most important one, is Global Action Plan. And they have been supporting, Global Action Plan have been supporting us to dabble a little bit in being citizen scientists and try to do our own measurements of air pollution in Enfield. So I would like to, part of my presentation is going to be just having an overall view of what air pollution is, and then very, very briefly have a look at what are the guiding values in by the WHO and UK. UK actually has legal limits, and then look a little bit more in depth at Enfield. So basically, air pollution is just another facet of, or another, so like the other facet of climate crisis, because much of the air pollution that we experience comes from the burning of fossil fuels or burning of other fuels such as wood. I'm going to concentrate mostly on air pollution that comes from external in ambient outdoors air pollution. And the main culprits at the moment are nitrogen dioxide, particulates, and interestingly, what's coming up is also ozone. So the bigger picture is that air pollution is, according to WHO, is one of the greatest environmental risks to health and life. And they increase significantly the risk of stroke, heart disease, lung cancer, and both acute and chronic respiratory disease, including asthma. It's estimated that outdoor air pollution in the entire worldwide in 2016 had caused 4.2 million premature deaths. And WHO reckons that if we have good policies and investments which support cleaner transport, energy efficient homes, power generation, cleaner industry, and better municipal waste management, we could reduce significantly key sources of outdoor pollution. I will start by sharing. I'm sorry, I don't have such beautiful slides as Tim, because my computer skills are very basic. So I'm going to do my best to share with you some of the information that I have. I've got the WHO guidelines to air pollution, and as I said, we're going to concentrate on the main culprits, which are nitrogen dioxide and particulate matter. These nitrogen dioxide is mostly from the burning of fossil fuels, whereas particulate matter comes from a variety of sources, and it is so like I am not going to go into the details because I don't have time, but it is partly transport and quite a lot of it from industry and from other sources of pollution, industry, and again, burning of fossil fuels in homes and for energy. So here we can see something very important happened in 2021 with the guidelines that the WHO has produced. We can see here that for nitrogen dioxide, it has decreased, they've decreased the limit, the recommended limit of an annual mean emissions of nitrogen dioxide from 40 to 10. So that is a fourfold decrease. And for PM10, particulate matter, which is 10, so like 10 micro millimeters, from 20 to 15, and PM 2.5 from 10 to 5. So this is quite significant. And they've added something to ozone 3 from 100 micrograms per 8-hour mean to, they've added also 60 micrograms for peak season mean, which is peak seasons are usually in summer, in spring and summer. The concern about ozone, so ozone, we know about it as a good thing that protects us from harmful radiation from the sun. But actually, if it's at ground level in the air, ozone is actually a serious pollutant and harmful to health. These are very important changes because this is a recognition by the WHO that any of these pollutants are very, very dangerous to health, and we should be reducing them significantly. Now, as by contrast, we have here, I'm going to try to to make it as visible as possible. These are below are the UK air quality standards and objectives. And these are objectives or limits which are enshrined in law. I have also limited to my presentation to annual mean. There are all sorts of other ways of measuring this, but I've just concentrated on an annual mean in order to simplify it a bit. So nitrogen dioxide, we see that we are still at 40 micrograms per cubic meter annual mean. And particulate matter is even PM10 is 40 micrograms annual mean, which is very concerning because it's not even sort of like, it doesn't even reach, it's 100% more than the 2005, the guidelines of 2005 of WHO. And for particulate matter, we have 25 micrograms annual mean, whereas in particles, in the PM 2.5 particulates, we have a target of 15% reduction for a 3-year mean between 2010 and 2020. So this is important, but we don't know anything about this particular reduction of 15% in Enfield, for example, because we don't have any measurements, we don't have any monitoring of particulate matter of this size, of the PM 2.5. I should add here that PM 2.5 and below 2.5, we have also much, much smaller particles, which are called ultra-fine particles or nanoparticles, which are absolutely tiny, much, much tinier than these. And we don't have any kind of indications, standards, objectives, or whatever for the ultrafine particles. Nevertheless, these are the most dangerous to health because they actually can penetrate in all organs in the circulation system, including the brain. And we have more recently research which shows that it actually goes through the placenta and can enter the body of fetuses, of unborn babies. It's interesting that with a reduction of nitrogen dioxide, apparently there's been an increase of ozone at the same time. So the scientists are looking into this, but they are not fully sure about what's happening. So it hasn't been very easy to understand what the situation in Enfield is. I've been looking at a number of documents that Enfield has produced, the main one being it's a document called the Enfield Air Quality Action Plan. This document has been produced in 2012, and it's claimed that it has been updated in 2015, but I don't see much updating. We have in Enfield, so Enfield has been declared an air quality management area for, I think, in 2007 or something like that, because of its high levels of air pollution.
It becomes much more difficult.
And
so I would say people are not necessarily. Sorry, go ahead. We just had someone join us. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. And also in Enfield, there is a number of recognized pollution hotspots, which are not any great discovery for any of us, such as the A406, the North Circular, the A10, Great Cambridge Road, A1055, Bullsmore Lane, and obviously areas alongside the M25. But our research, our own citizen scientist research, has also identified that we have green lanes, which should be added to this. 4th Street in Edmonton, Enfield Town, Church Street, for example, but not only, and Brownlow Road in the south of the borough, which we should regard also as hotspots for nitrogen dioxide. Now, the information, as I said, there is an air quality action plan, which is produced by Enfield. And every year, this action plan is actually being updated and there's an annual progress report. And I would like to share with you some of the information that I've gleaned from this app with regard to nitrogen dioxide. Because Enfield, in order to monitor air pollution, Enfield has 4 permanent monitoring stations, which are automatic monitoring stations, and another 10 which are monitoring only nitrogen dioxide. And these show, these can be put in different places. We used similar things, which are called diffusion tubes, and we can, we set them up, and but these are the diffusion tubes from E1 all the way to E10. These are diffusion tubes that Enfield has, Enfield Council has set them up. And I've created here a table which shows a comparison between 2019 and 2020. And we can see here that in 2020, very obviously, there's been quite a significant, okay, sorry, I chose to do it in 2 different data. We have the raw annual mean data, and we have something which is called mean bias adjusted, and I'm not going to go into this, but the mean bias adjusted results always in less values for these monitoring stations. So for instance, we have in Enfield in Church Street, in 2019, we had 76.7, and we have to bear in mind that the limit is 40 micrograms per cubic meter. Here we have 76 or almost 77 in annual mean data. And the mean bias adjusted has decreased to 557. But in any case, we can see here quite significant hotspots. Now, I have also added, so we see Enfield Church Street, we see Winchmore Hill, we see Alderman's Hill, Southbury Road, Brettenham Road in junction with 4th Street, very high. And we also see Brownlow Road in the south of the borough, N11. We see all these hotspots. And in addition to this, I have also put in orange, the ones which are just above 30, between 30 and 40, because these are also indications that it's very high. And let's bear in mind that the WHO guidelines now say 10 micrograms annual mean per cubic meter. So this is a very worrying situation. We have to give a lot of thought. Another so can I say that I had to work quite a lot.
We will have to get very close to time, or we've got, let's say, another 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, okay. Can I just say that it hasn't been easy to put together this information, because even though we have the annual reports, these annual reports are very, very basic. And the information, in order to collate the information, you have to do quite a bit of work. To understand the information is also not easy, because these annual reports are also, they provide the absolute minimum of information. And whereas if I try to compare it with other boroughs, so for instance, I looked at Walthamstow, Waltham Forest. Waltham Forest have 60 different monitoring sites for nitrogen dioxide. They have one also for PM 2.5, whereas we don't have any. And also provide a lot more information in the body of the reports about these. I have also put together this table, which shows us that, as a matter of fact, we only have one monitoring station at present for particulate matter, which is in Bowes Road. We had two more in Derby Road in Edmonton, but this has been stopped at the end of 2015. And we had one in Nightingale Road. I was particularly, and that was stopped in 2008. Again, we have to remember that the legal limit is 40 micrograms annual mean per cubic meter. But I was particularly puzzled about the fact that the Derby Road monitoring station was discontinued, because it actually shows that it's higher by about approximately 40–50% than the one in Bowes Road. So the readings are all quite high. So I was puzzled about it. So I went to Derby Road, is very close to the North Circular, very close to the Edmonton incinerator. It's not actually on the North Circular. So I went and compared it a little bit with something from Waltham Forest, a PM10 monitoring station. And it was interesting to see that it was actually correlated these results in Edmonton, in Waltham Forest, and this is about 2 miles away from, about 1.5 miles from the boundary with Enfield. And they were very similar to the ones in Derby Road. So I'm very puzzled why this was discontinued. One reason could be that there was a demand for these monitoring devices in other places because they don't belong to Enfield. They are given to Enfield from another government body. But I don't know, we don't know. It would have been nice if the air pollution officer could have come to give us some information, but we didn't get that.